This video is going to cover some examples in lesson 3.5 in your additional example packet on page 8. So go ahead and find your additional examples packet. We are on page 8. And we're going to do these 4 examples on this page at the bottom. So 3.5 example number 3 here. We need to write an equation of the line passing through the point -1, 1 that is parallel to the line y equals 2x minus 3. And so when we're done, we're going to have an equation of this line. So we need a couple things in order to be able to write an equation of this line. We need to know, using our point slope formula, we need to know the slope of our line, and we need to know a point on the line. Well, the good news is they give us a point that our line needs to go through. So I'm going to go ahead right off the bat and label this point x1, y1. So my x and y coordinates of this point, I will use these to plug into my point slope formula. Now, to find the slope, I need to figure out the slope of the line that it is parallel to. Because remember, parallel lines have the same slope. I know my line has to be parallel to this one. So if I can find the slope of this line, then I can know the slope of what my line needs to be. In this equation, this is in slope-intercept form. So remember, in slope-intercept form, the number that comes before x is our slope. So the slope of this particular line, y equals 2x minus 3, is 2. So I'm going to make a little note to myself that the slope of this line is 2. All right, so let's go ahead and put together the equation of our line. For our line, I'll put it under here. The point that it's going to go through is -1, 1, and our slope needs to be equal to the slope of this line. So our slope that we're going to use is also 2. So now we're ready to write the equation of our line. I'm going to just plug in my 3 values into my point slope formula. So y minus y1 is 1, equals m, which is 2, times the quantity x minus x1. So I have an x minus x1. So x minus -1. Now, we don't want to leave it like this, minus a negative. That's not very nice looking. So remember, we're going to turn that into a plus. This is our final answer. Moving on to the next example, we want to write an equation of the line passing through the point -4, 6 that is parallel to the line y equals 3x minus 4. So again, we're going to label this x1, y1. We need to figure out the slope of what our line needs to be. So we first need to find the slope of this line. The slope of this line, since it's in slope-intercept form, is 3 because it comes before the x. Since our line needs to be parallel, it needs to have the same slope. So our slope needs to also be 3, and it needs to pass through this point. We are now ready to plug our values into our point slope formula. So y minus y1, y minus 6 equals m, my slope, times the quantity x minus x1 is -4. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that minus negative into a plus. I'm done. Example 4. We need to write an equation of the line passing through the point 2, 3 that is perpendicular to the line 2x plus y equals 2. So first of all, I know my equation has to include this point. But now my line is perpendicular to this given equation. And so remember, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. And we'll talk about what that means after we find the slope of this line. So my line here has an equation 2x plus y equals 2. This is not in slope-intercept form. So what I need to do first is do some algebra and get y by itself in order to make it in slope-intercept form. So to get y by itself, I need to get rid of this 2x term on the left. To undo it and cancel, I'm going to subtract in 2x on both sides of my equation. This leaves me with y equals, these are not like terms, so I'm going to leave it as it is. We're used to seeing in slope-intercept form the term with x first, so I'm going to go ahead and put negative 2x and then plus 2. Now I've turned this into slope-intercept form, so it's easy to tell that the slope of this line is negative 2. So to find the slope of my line, it needs to be the opposite reciprocal of negative 2. So the slope of my line, if this slope is negative, mine needs to be positive. And then I need to think about flipping this. So if I have the fraction 2 over 1, negative 2 over 1, if I were to flip this, and we're not going to worry about the negative right now, if I were to flip this, it would become 1/2. Right? So 1/2 is the reciprocal of 2. So my slope needs to be positive 1/2. I've now figured out what my slope is and what my point is. So I am now ready to use my point slope formula to plug in my values. So the equation of my line is y minus y1, which is 3, equals my slope m, which is positive 1/2. I'm not going to worry about putting the plus sign. X minus x1, x minus 2. And our very last example. Write an equation of the line passing through the point negative 12, 6. That is perpendicular to the line y equals 2/3 x minus 10. So I know this point I will label with x1, y1 because my equation needs to have that point in it. I also need to figure out what the slope of the line is here so I can determine what the slope of my line needs to be. The slope of this line is positive 2/3. It's in front of x. It was in slope-intercept form. So the slope of my line, remember, it's an opposite reciprocal. If this is positive, my slope needs to be negative. And I'm going to take 2/3 and the reciprocal, I can get that by flipping it. So my slope needs to be negative 3/2. I am now ready to write my equation using point slope form. So point slope form tells me I need to do y minus y1, so y minus 6 equals m, my slope, negative 3/2, times the quantity x minus x1, x minus negative 12. I'm going to go ahead and turn that into a plus sign.